So last week, I talked about the pattern of self-sabotage and the many ways that we do that. I talked about those patterns of behavior. The saboteur is an archetypal pattern. That's just a fancy way of a pattern of behavior that humanity, the collective, engages in, and we label them. And one of those labels is the saboteur. In every archetype, right, we can engage the power of choice from an enlightened place, from the mountaintop, so to speak, or we can engage it from the basement in the darkness. So we say that each archetype or pattern of behavior, which is about, everything's about consciousness, we can engage it via the shadow, from the basement, from the ground level, or we can engage it from the top floor of the mountaintop. Shadow is the ground floor, and it is about not this evil thing like I shared last week, being this big devil or some force outside of us, ourselves. It is fear. The many forms of fear, of lack, of unworthiness. And a lot of time, we can be aware of them, but shadow also means that which is hidden from our conscious awareness. You know, we don't always know what we have stored in our basement. We forget. For those of you who have that, a basement, oh yeah, I forgot we had this here. So many times those fears can lay hidden in the unknown. And we talked about how the sabotaging pattern, we talked about St. Paul, about sometimes I don't know why I do the things that I do. Even the mystical teacher spoke of that. When we're coming from that unconscious place of fear from the basement. And we looked at the patterns of procrastination, of distraction, of lateness, of creating drama in our lives, excuses, and so on and so on. And today I want to talk about moving up to the top of the mountain. Moving into the light aspect of choice. You see, the saboteur is about the guardian of choice. And we're always making choices. And I did have a clip for you. And somehow I was sabotaged again. And it did work at 7 a.m. So, just saying, but it's okay. We did our best. And I get to surrender and go to the mountaintop again. And I love the song we sing, coming out of meditation. When I trust and I let go, I know all is well. I always have something to let go of. And it puts me in that space. So I'm going to do my best to describe this short little clip from Friends. Anybody a fan of the TV series Friends? Okay. So there's a scene where Rachel comes into a massage studio. It's, you know, we have lots of chains, but it's one of those chains of massage studios. And she comes up, and the woman behind the counter greets us, "Hello, how are you? Relax." And you see Rachel's face like, are you for real? Like, you know, that phony air that I care. So she presents this torn up gift certificate that she put back together, and she gives it to her, and she tells her to go into the other room and wait for a massage therapist. In walks Phoebe from another door, and she says, "Your next client's here." And Phoebe looks and sees it's Rachel. She's like, "Oh my gosh, I can't let that woman, that's a friend of mine, I can't let her know that I work here." And she's like looking at her. And the woman's still talking with, "Why? What's wrong?" And she's like, "Really? Do we have to talk like this?" And then Phoebe says, "I really can't go in there." And they go back and forth. You know, if I go in there and she knows it's me, I told Rachel that I hate these chains, you know, these blood-sucking, evil, greedy corporate chains. And if I go in there, Rachel's going to know that I'm working here. She's like, well, really? Well, why are you working here? She's like, I need the money. I need the money. I have to. So we see that maybe Phoebe really loves massage, the art of massage, but she has great disdain and hatred for the company she works for. She believes that they are phony, that they don't really care, whatever, it's a facade, you know, from The Voice and so on and so on. Yet, Phoebe is mirroring the energy of facade herself. Isn't that interesting how we see things in the world and we also have them? And her facade is all around pretending. Pretending to Rachel. Pretending that this job's okay. And then she winds up going in to do the massage, and now she takes on a Swedish accent. Which is quite hilarious. And so Rachel's like, what is it with the accents in this place? And she's got her head down, and every time she's trying to get up, she pushes her head down. She pushes her head down. And she's like, okay, so what's your name? And I don't know, she said like Gilda or something like that. And so when she walks over to where the footrest is, I guess she has these socks that Rachel knows that are Phoebe's, and she recognizes the shoes, and she gets found out. Many times, we get found out because our fears loom so large that they get louder and louder, and we have no choice but to look at them. And when fear is the driving force behind our choices, yes, we undermine ourselves. We seek security from the outside world. We think we have no choices. We talk about there's only one power, one presence, God, the universal, abundant source. And we have all these adjectives to the mysterious power. But yet we live our lives many times not in that truth, coming from that place of truth. We don't think that there are limitless possibilities. We think that there's only, okay, I got this job. Yeah, even though it goes everything with my integrity, I'm going to take it. I'm going to take it. I have to take it. There are no other choices. Now it is hard, as Jesus spoke of, and many other masters, right? We hear Buddha talking about don't be sucked in by the illusions of the outside world. And not to say we deny physical things are here, but we give them the power over our happiness and our well-being. And we give them the power to make our choices, right? And when Jesus spoke of to be in this world but not of it, it means, yes, we have to deal with physical reality, but we must be powered from within. As I am in this job and it is not for me and I say there's no other choice, what do I notice? Am I in the mountaintop or in the basement? So I want to talk about how do we elevate our power of choice? How do we come from a more enlightened power of choice? We are always choosing. Every moment, every second, we are choosing with the vibration of who we are. Our conscious thoughts, our unconscious thoughts, our words, our actions. And sometimes we're like, no, you know what? I have this difficult choice to make between, 3 training programs, so I'm just not going to choose. Well, that's a choice. And a lot of times what happens is what we are energized with most, if it's fear, we're going to be noticing that in our environment. So, when we move into looking at the guardian of choice in our lives, and we are the guardians of choice, we can see, and so I had a slide, an image of a mountaintop with 4 levels. So I want to talk about level 1, which is that basement or stage 1 of coming into the light of choice. And that is called unintentional consequences. All right? So choice happens, but we do it in an unconscious way. And it looks like this. It's kind of like what happened with Phoebe, right? She gets found out, but I'll be more specific. So we're in a situation, be it a job, a relationship, a housing situation, so on and so on. And we know it's not resonating with us. It is against our integrity. We're getting all these clues to get out of there. And so we say, yeah, like Phoebe said, I don't think but you know what? I gotta live in this world. We can all relate to that. And so we stay. We stay in an unhealthy relationship. We stay in an unhealthy place of living. We stay in an unhealthy job. We don't pay attention to our body speaking to us. And then, just so happens, a choice is made. We abdicate, but the thing that is speaking louder is our fear. So here's a scenario. You're in a job. Everything in you is saying, I hate this job. I dislike this job. And then suddenly, you try to convince yourself it's okay, or this relationship. And then suddenly you find you're engaging in those sabotage behaviors. You're late a lot. You procrastinate. You get spoken to maybe here and there. We really need you to come on time. And then this important deadline is up for you at work, and you miss it, and it causes consequential circumstances for the organization. And so, guess what? You lose your job. So the choice, you got out of it. The choice happened. The very thing you really said, you hate this, and you didn't take action on it, and it just happened for you because the energy of disdain was larger than your desire of moving into empowered choice. Now, it is choice, but it is not the most graceful choice, and it usually comes from, oops, oh boy. And then maybe later we see, how did I not see that coming? So then we move up to the second floor, the second stage. And that is called we stop the sabotage. So it looks like this. We actually have a good thing going on. We're in this great relationship, we're liking it, and then all of a sudden this fear of vulnerability and commitment surfaces. And so, one sabotage is, I'm out of here. And you're going to go to the next thing because you're waiting for the next shoe to drop. And let me get the heck out of here before that happens. Or you start engaging in over-demanding asks of the individual, where you become overbearing. And they could possibly what? Leave for instead. But you begin to recognize it. You begin to recognize it. And then another example is you have this friendship and you don't want to hurt this person's feelings, but they really have been devaluing to you and they're always in this victim mentality and you're just finding that it's really against everything and you kind of just right now want to love them for a distance. And you might even find yourself saying things to your other friends. Next thing you know, you're at a party and they accidentally overhear you saying something. But when you get into the stop behavior, before those words come out, you stop yourself. Oh my gosh, you know what? I am recognizing I am going to sabotage this relationship. I am going to stop being demanding. Oh, I'm going to stop. I'm not going to leave just yet. So it is a more empowered choice because you're noticing the sabotage pattern, but it's more about stopping what you don't want instead of engaging in what you do want. You don't stop to ask yourself, What is it in me that might need healing that I want to do this flight thing again? What is it in me that I can't have an honest conversation with this friend? So we're just engaging in choice, but the choice is to stop the sabotage. And we move up to the third stage, or the third floor of the mountain, and that is we initiate the positive. Now I want to tell you that the first three floors, even the one initiating the positive, it's all about the external world changing or providing you with security. So we get to the third floor, and that is about initiating the positive choice. You get that nudge, right? Your body is all achy, it's not feeling right, and you're realizing, you know what, every time I eat sugar, every time I eat dairy, it doesn't do the body good. You get that nudge. So you're like, you know what, I'm going to go on this exercise program, I'm going to go on a nutritious plan, so you engage in positive change, okay? Or the situation with your job, you find maybe you're not unhappy, maybe it's Phoebe not thinking, maybe it's more than just the facility, maybe she's really finding out that she doesn't like massage. She's like, you know what, I'm going to go back to school. And a lot of times at this stage, people are like really impressed. Wow, look at this one's dropping the weight, really going, and it is positive. Wow, you went to school, you got that hit? And that actually happened to me at work with teaching. I was getting that intuitive hit that I wanted, this wasn't up for me. And then I'll explain it later. What I engaged in, instead of moving, I stayed with it to go within, but I did go to school. So we take that deep breath, we are engaging in positive change, we're being proactive, we hear the voice from within, something's not right, we want to follow that wisdom, but where do we go? We change the external, which is also awesome. So now I want to talk what it looks like from the top floor, from the mountaintop. From this place, we realize that change is about ourselves. It doesn't mean we're not going to get a hit from the outside world. Somebody leaves in a relationship, you go bankrupt, we have that fear come up, we know we have to change things, but before we change our external circumstances, we do a deep dive within. And as the master teacher spoke, in Matthew chapter 5, verse 1, when Jesus saw the crowds, he went up to the mountain, and after he sat down, his disciples came to him, and he prayed. Now the crowds represent fear, many choices, many options. Crowd of thoughts. Do I do A? Do I do B? Do I go here? Do I go there? And the disciples came in prayer. Those are our powers. Where in prayer and in meditation we look at where and how we are using our powers. Every Sunday and every month we have the power of the month, and every Sunday we talk about when we are engaging it from the bottom or the basement, or when we are engaging it from the top. So we are to go within and see what's up here. And so for me in the teaching job, I stayed. I knew as I looked within that I was seeking the change, but I began to do the inner work. What is it about my superintendent that is really pushing my buttons? I knew she was my teacher. Yes, maybe I'm not in alignment with her integrity, but there was something there for me to look at. Where am I not in integrity with myself? And I began to speak up about the things that I felt. I started advocating for the students. And eventually I did leave. But it was from a wisdom of doing that inner work. So if we go back to even the previous example about the individual who had the aches and pains in their body and started that diet or exercise plan, when the individual comes from the mountaintop, not only do they do the physical stuff, but they may say, I wonder why I'm hungry for that chocolate cake. It's not about the chocolate cake. And they do the deep dive. What is it that I'm really hungry for? Where am I not connected to the God within me? Where am I not valuing myself? What security fear is most alive within me that I am seeking from the external world? And then in the relationship situation, that individual have the courage. You know what? I'm feeling really vulnerable right now. I'm even wanting to leave. And I know I've been overbearing. I have to really look at what that's about. What's going on for you? And then you do that dive of, where do I need to forgive myself? Where am I in the basement still holding on of wounds, of being abandoned, of being rejected, of not being enough, of not knowing what to do with goodness. I know what to do with rejection. I know what to do with abandonment. I just go asleep somehow. But how do I go and be all that I can be? And when we are from the mountaintop of the light of choice, we seek to evolve from the inside out, not only for our good, but the good of everybody. For we know that we are all one, and we are here to be our brothers and sisters' keepers. And Carolyn Mace says that when we are coming from that high place, our need to matter is more important than our need to be recognized. Let's take that in. Our need to matter is more important than our need to be recognized. Our status, to have approval from someone else, to be the special one, the only one. Look at her, look at him. Now, we are divine, and we are to have self-love and to own that. But when we step into grandiosity or false hubris, we are not living from the mountaintop. And when we have that desire, that will of choice to change, to be stretched, to grow, to sit in the chaos, because all change ultimately brings to us to discomfort. I don't care how spiritual you are, as long as you're in this human body, when you are stretched and you grow and you change, you will feel discomfort and chaos. And when you are from that high place, you say, oh yeah, I will not run, I will not hide, I will stand in it and go deep within. Deep within. You know, 25 after or so, when I found out it wasn't a go, I couldn't get my plan B, which is okay, and I knew I felt very disappointed. And then I took this deep breath and I said, go to the mountaintop, and I'm like, is it the video that I'm giving to this community today, or am I offering myself? And I go back to offering myself to the best of my ability. Whatever way it is, but that's what's alive. That is the choice. And in just letting the rest go. And be present with it. So we stand in that uncomfortability, and we not only seek to be empowered, we seek to be that light in others. It is no longer about competition. It's no longer having to be the best singer, or the best minister, or the best of anything, the best doctor, or we're attached to our titles. It is about knowing our oneness in every aspect of our being. And I am here to love you, and you, and whatever small way I can do that. Yes, I say yes. Do you say yes with me?
Yes.
So, it's not easy. It is not easy maintaining the mountaintop consciousness. And we will go down, because we're embracing what? Our humanity in this world, not of this world. but in every moment, we seek to be awake. And we get to be observant of every choice. We get to go and pray and meditate, to discern. We get to forgive over and over again. Isn't that awesome? Yay! Some days I'm not saying yay. Over and over again. And it's not about something being wrong. It just means I'm evolving. I'm saying yes. So, I did want to just share or ask a couple of questions for you to reflect on. And just know that when we say yes, when we take that first step, when our faith is pointed in knowing, I am the embodiment of God. I choose to be an instrument. Carolyn Mace speaks of a charism that grows. And it's like the divine and you have said yes together. And then suddenly it begins to flow from you. You can see when you're face to face with a receptionist or whomever that may be in your life, that is, hello, how are you? I'm going to heal you. Or someone who flows with it. You can sense it. You can see it. You can feel it. And it is each and every one of you. And so I leave you with these couple of questions. You got questions? What change do you fear in your life today? What has come up kind of over and over? Or maybe there's a new one. Are you seeking your security? Look, as you take an inventory of your life. Are you seeking your security from outside sources? Or is it from the God of truth within? I love how the daily word always matches somehow. What floor may you be operating on today? Knowing that you get to choose and go within. And so, let us just take that deep breath in as you do that quick reflection, knowing that you can do more at home. And I invite you, my friends, to know that you have been made for the mountaintop, and the world needs you to own it. And so I ask you to boldly, audaciously shine your light, for you are powerful. And so it is. And from my heart to your heart, I bless you.